Episode 139, Real Requests Are Like Offers. Hi, my friends. Okay, today I'm going to be giving you a tool. So this tool is not going to work in every single situation, but I think you're going to find it really, really helpful in many situations that come up. So as with any tool, like it's not going to cover every single nuance and crevice. And I'm sure you're going to have a lot of questions. And I'll just let you know that I answer all of those questions inside of my membership program, How to Glow. So if you want to take this work deeper, if you have a specific scenario you want to apply it to, I want to really encourage you to check it out. It's only $39 a month still on founder pricing. So I really encourage you to just give it a shot. You can try for a month and see, but you have to get on the wait list. So you have to go to kaylalevin.com/coaching and get on the list. So let's get into the tool. So one of the reasons that people get really frustrated in their relationships is that there's something that they want, that they've wanted for a long time, and they're not getting it. Okay. So this is just, when questions come to me, often it's sort of under that theme, right? And usually what she'll say is that he knows this is what I want. Okay. I've told him already. Sometimes they'll say he's not listening, right? So some version of that. So I used to use a tool, and I still do sometimes, which is I'll say, did you ask with a question mark? I don't know if I got this one from Alison Armstrong. I'm sure it was inspired by her work. I'm not sure if she uses the exact phrasing. So I want to give her credit in case that was from her. But this was really, really helpful for me, was when I am requesting something, is it a sentence that should be punctuated with a question mark? Now, let me explain what that means, because that sounds very simple. Often, what women will catch themselves doing is they'll be saying something like, the trash needs to go out. Now, if you're writing an essay and you write the trash needs to go out, that doesn't get a question mark, that gets a period, because that is a statement. Okay. That is not a request. The request would be, can you take out the trash? Question mark. Okay. So I want to give you another version of that. And first of all, I wanted to say that if you struggle with this, if you try to do this and it's hard for you, I think that's really normal. Okay. And I think it's totally fine. This is actually one of the things that out of the specific tools that I tried to implement in my marriage, this is the one that is laughingly, I am like, it's now a joke in our marriage how bad I am at it, right? Like where he'll just like sit there and stare at me with a big smile and be like, waiting for the question mark. And I'm like, I can't, like, it's just so hard for me to articulate. So for me, I think it comes from just like not wanting that vulnerability of like, he could say no. Okay. But the truth is, I can't claim that the message was sent if I never really articulated what I want. Okay. And one of the ways of making sure that happens is the question mark. So another tool I want to offer you, there's another way of looking at this, because I do think it really is a very important tool, despite the amount that I struggle with. Probably the reason that I struggle with it is because it's so important. This is something I actually learned from my business coach, Stacey Bayman. And she was talking about, working in business. And if you're trying to get business and all of these things. So she says, you need to make offers. And it's only an offer if the person has to tell you yes or no. So an announcement isn't called an offer. Okay. So if I'm announcing, like I did at the beginning of this episode, if I'm announcing that I have a program and I can help you there, that's important. I'm giving you information. I'm letting you know I can help you. But I didn't really offer you a chance to say yes or no, because I'm not talking to you one-on-one, right? I'm not in that kind of engagement with you where I have to sit there and wait to hear if you're going to say yes or no. And this is something that people in business have to develop the comfort to be able to make an actual clear offer. Because what happens is then the other person is in a position of, oh, it's time to make a decision. Whether they say yes or no, now they've decided and they get to move on, right? Either towards using that offer or towards whatever else they're going to do with themselves. But being in that place of like, I have information, but I'm not really sure, I'll just push it off, doesn't serve either party. So I want you to think about the requests, the things you want in your marriage, the requests that you're trying to make in your marriage as offers, meaning whether you want to ask it with, is there a question mark? What I want you to try this time is to say, is there a place for a no? Like, am I asking a question that could get a no? And I think this is going to really reveal if you have any hesitance to doing this. Like, as I said, I totally do. Number one might be, I don't want to hear the no, so I won't ask. I don't want to get a no. Like maybe I'm going to make that no mean something. This is very common, especially with newlyweds. If he says no to me, then I'm going to make that mean that like maybe he's not like, he doesn't really care about giving to me, or maybe he's not as generous a person as I thought he was. Like there's just so much story connected to the no. I'd rather just not ask. Or the other one that often happens is he should just know what I want. How come he doesn't realize already? He sees that the garbage is full. He knows that I'm overtired and the baby's crying. He knows that I love to go to that restaurant. He knows that I had a hard day and want to tell him about it, but he's on his phone. Like he should just know, right? So when we cling to the story of he should just know, we're not going to make an offer. When we don't want to hear the no, we're not going to make an offer. These are the things that will keep us from doing this. But we lose out when we're not making real requests as an offer, requests with a question mark, however you want to think about it. Number one, the message is not communicated. Or I should maybe just say it's rarely communicated. Is it possible he got the message? Yes. But is it as likely as if you're actually saying something and waiting for a response of a yes or a no? Absolutely not. Right? And then because the message isn't communicated, we spin out in frustration. And then that grows into resentment. And now we're busy being a resentful, frustrated woman with a full garbage can, right? Or whatever you want to put into that mushel. You can tell what we deal with in our house. Okay. So and some part of the message being communicated is I'm waiting for an answer. Not just I'm letting you know my desire. Oh, just so you know, I love that restaurant. And he's like, oh, great. I'll log that away in case I ever need that information. And she's trying to say, how come we're not going on a date this week? I thought you were going to call a sitter and tell me that you're taking me out. Right? So where's the request, right? Just letting him know, dropping hints, sort of like nudging him along isn't communicating. Even if he gets all the information, it doesn't mean that he's actually reading between the lines. One of the things that I say a lot that I just think is that it's not true across the board, but it is so very often true, is that women communicate between the lines. If you were to look at a script of everything we're saying to each other, the real meaning comes between the words, right? Women are the ones who say, bless her heart in the South, right? If you know what that means, it means all sorts of things. If someone were to say to you, oh my gosh, I'm so surprised that you chose to wear that color. So I would never think that she actually just means that she's surprised I chose to wear that color. I would be trying to figure out, is she insinuating that this is a terrible color on me? Does she think I look terrible? Does she think it's inappropriate? Does she think it's out of fashion? Like what's going on? Because I know that women are communicating between the lines. Men communicate on the lines. What does that mean? Number one, it doesn't mean that they're simple, brutish beings who can't have deep conversations. Let's make that very clear. What it means is that they are direct in their communication. Okay. So if he says, I'm surprised you chose to wear that color, he probably just means he's surprised. He hasn't seen you wear that color before. He means what he says, right? And because of that, that can be one of the most common, just basic misunderstandings between men and women when they get married, is that she's busy communicating between the lines. And she's like, my gosh, I'm practically screaming at him that I want him to take me on a date. But meanwhile, has she said it? No, at no point did she actually say the words, would you take me on a date? Right. And so she's feeling like this has been so clearly communicated. How come he doesn't understand? Because if she was talking to one of her girlfriends, she would, because that's the way women communicate. Meanwhile, she hasn't made an offer. She hasn't asked a question with a question mark. Okay. So he might have the information, but the message was not communicated, right? So we're frustrated, we're resentful, and we don't have the thing that we want. So before we're going to be able to really ask the question, we're going to have to know how to manage getting a no. Because if you don't think you can handle hearing a no from him, then you're not going to ask, right? So here's what happens if a no comes up. Here's what I want you to just sort of put into your toolbox. What I want you to consider is that the no is information. When someone gives you a no, they're giving you information. And we can, instead of making a story of what the no means, we can get curious about what the no might mean. Okay. So here are some examples. One might be, I'm not interested in that. Is that the same as I'm not interested in you? No. I'm not interested in that is very different. Find out like, why is it a no? Just understand like what's going on here. Maybe it's he's not interested in that. Maybe I'm not available for that. Very, very different. I'd love to give that to you. I already know exactly what's going on with me today. I know exactly what's on my queue. I don't see where that's going to fit in. I'm not available for that. Or another one, which is I don't see the value of that. Now, once you have those pieces of information, you have where to go with that. Let's say it's really important to you that you get on a date with your husband. And he's like, no, I just don't see the value. I mean, we spend a ton of time together every night. We hang out and we talk and we play board games. So he doesn't understand the value to you because to him, there isn't a value in going out. Is that a problem fundamentally? Does that mean that he doesn't care about you? Absolutely not. It means that the value hasn't been communicated, right? So if there's a value to you, then that might be something that you want to say. Here's why that would really matter to me. Here's what that would give me if we were to go out. Here's why I think it would be special. Not, right? Not like I'm busy in a tug of war trying to get my way or convince you, but look, we're sharing information. Now I understand that your no, I understand where your no came from. Now I can share with you why for me it's a yes, right? And then maybe at some point we come to a different place. All right. So this is a tool I want to leave you with this week. Again, short and sweet this week, but I want you to just give it a try. Let me know how you do. Were you able to ask a question with a yes or a no? Is this something you even struggle with? Or maybe it's just me and all my clients. Are there areas that are harder for you than others? So let me know. If you're on Meaningful Minute, you can comment there. If you're on Instagram at Kayla Levin Coaching, otherwise you can always email me. And I love to hear your responses. All right, so go give it a try. Go see if you can make an offer or ask a question with a question mark and see how it goes. All right, my friends, see you next week.